it's Jay. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion on cozy fragrances. Today's topic is powdery, sweet, cozy fragrances. I love this topic. I love this type of fragrance. It might be one of my favorite types of fragrances because it just makes me feel very feminine. The powdery sweetness reminds me of like powdered sugar on your skin, and it's very sensual. You know, it puts me in the space of boudoir. You know, that is a woman's dressing room. It doesn't necessarily have to be a designated room for your dressing. For me, it is just my room. And so it's decorated the way I want it to be. It reflects my personality. When I'm in my room and I'm in that state, you know, I could either be dressing or undressing. You know, you're vulnerable, you are yourself in your room. So I feel like these fragrances make me feel a lot like myself. I'm very soft, I'm very feminine, so they reflect me. So these fragrances are perfect to be worn either in the house, whatever you're doing, or going out. If you go out, they are present enough to withstand your clothing. They're sweet enough. The powder is strong enough to kind of get through your sweater, your scarf, your jacket. And also they project about arm's length. And so they are softer. They're not going to offend anybody. And they're just beautiful smelling. They're attractive. You know, anybody who comes around you is going to be attracted by your scent. They're going to want to know more about you because you are doing a little something extra. And it is, you know, you're putting forth an effort. It's interesting. It's sweet. And they just, you know, like I said, just put a beautiful cloud of powdered sugar around you. That's what I'll say. The first fragrance that we're going to talk about is 212 Sexy by Carolina Herrera. This is an oldie but goodie. The notes are pink pepper. There are some florals in this fragrance, although I don't get much of the florals. I probably am not going to mention them too much. Powder. There's a note of cotton candy in this fragrance. It doesn't smell like cotton candy. There is a slight note of baby powder that dies down. The pink pepper keeps it fresh and a little bit fruity, a little bit fizzy. Yes, but the cotton candy note is more like sweetness and airiness, sugariness to the powder. And this is just beautiful on skin. This lasts, it smooths out on skin. Like I said, that baby powder note is not gonna last. And it's just a very soft and smooth, a little bit fresh. It stays a little bit fresher fragrance. So this actually, I would say that this could be a fall signature fragrance if you wanted it to be. This is 212 Sexy by Carolina Herrera. And see, it just twists back on. Beautiful. The next one is my baby. I've mentioned it plenty of times before. This is the one by Dolce & Gabbana. This is peachy, still fresh, powdery, smooth, airy. The powder in here. So my last video, I was having trouble describing the powder that was in Iris Dragees. And I thought about it and I found that I would like to say the powder has clarity to it. And what I mean by that is that there's powder that you apply, and the powder is still in the air, and you can feel the powder in the air. You cannot feel the powder around you in this fragrance. This is more like a powder that has already been applied to your skin. You've left the space that you've applied it, and you're in a new space, and the powder is just sitting on your skin. So you smell powdery, but there is no powder around you. So I think that is a good way to describe it. This is a powder with clarity. It's just that you smell powdery. It doesn't feel like powder is around you. So that is Dolce & Gabbana, the one. Another one that I feel has that same type of clear powder with clarity is Mon Guerlain. This is the EDP. There's lavender in here. Some lavenders are very spicy, very aromatic. This lavender is very, very smooth and it's fresh. Okay, so there's iris in this fragrance, there's tonka, vanilla, and so I think there might be orris in here too. But so this fragrance starts out kind of fresh. It's still a very rich fragrance. Every note is concentrated, is very rich. The vanilla in here is very nice and it sweetens up on your skin. The powder comes from the tonka, it comes from the orris and the iris. And so as it dries down, you can feel the powder, but it's still a very, like I said, a very rich fragrance. This is smooth and sweet and powdery. So that's Mon Guerlain, the EDP. The next one I have, I love this fragrance. It's very interesting to me. This is Lilac Love by Amouage. And this fragrance has a heavy note of cacao in the opening. There's lilac in here. There's some other florals. Don't get too much of the other florals, possibly gardenia, if anything. There is vanilla in here also. But let me give you an idea of what that sprayer looks like. And when you spray it, that cacao and the lilac, it hits hard. So it's rich because of the cacao. And cacao is like powdery. It's a powdered chocolate, but it's not creamy. It hasn't become chocolate yet. So, excuse me, I got that in my nose. But it hasn't become chocolate yet. So it's powder. This fragrance is actually richer in the beginning than it is at the base of this fragrance, which is unusual because normally a fragrance deepens as you wear it. But I feel like this one gets more fresh. It becomes more fresh. And that is because that cacao dies down and the vanilla and the cacao, they switch places. So the florals become more prominent. The lilac and maybe the gardenia mixed together become more prominent in this fragrance. The cacao takes a back seat and the vanilla comes forward. So with the dry down of that cacao, the richness, it's still a rich fragrance, but the way it is in the beginning, it freshens up because the cacao is not so present. And this fragrance projects very well, and it's just beautiful, very soft, very fluffy, still floral, but mostly powdery and sweet. So this is Lilac Love by Amouage. The next one I have is Guerlain, and this is Shalamar Soufflé Intense Entente. This fragrance is beautiful. A lot of people describe this, I've heard it described as a lemon pie, and I don't think that I can agree with that. I understand because the citruses and the vanilla, but I feel like this is not a gourmand fragrance. When I spray this fragrance, it is bittersweet. And it's a little bit creamy. I mean, you definitely get the citruses in this fragrance. And I almost feel like there could be a rind in there too, maybe just a little bit of the rind. There is floral in this fragrance, white floral. The vanilla comes through right away as well, but the vanilla is not so sweet that it ever becomes, I would not say that this is a rich vanilla. I would say that this is a dry, sweet vanilla. And there is benzoin in this too, which is a resin, and I do feel it's resinous. Maybe there might be some amber in here too, because when I first smell it, I feel like there could be amber mixed with the citruses, which makes it kind of dry but bright and bittersweet. That bittersweetness goes away and you definitely feel the vanilla coming forward more. Again, it's still dry and but it's sweet, powdery. So the florals still stay prominent in this fragrance well. So all of that mixed together, I never get gourmand, but I definitely get powder, citrusy, floral, sweet, vanilla. This is beautiful. Shalimar, this is Soufflé Intense. The next one is the famous Dior Hypnotic Poison. This fragrance, it's described as a Play-Doh or as a root beer, and I definitely feel those descriptions. But I'm gonna disagree a little bit, because I feel like when I spray this fragrance, Play-Doh is salty, and don't act like you haven't eaten it. Every kid has taken a little bit of that Play-Doh, that's a nice atomizer. And eaten it, tried it. So there's no salt in this fragrance at all. I feel like this fragrance is doughy. This is a dough, a sweet dough, mixed with some almond powder, some licorice powder, and some vanilla. This is just very sweet, powdery still. So imagine the dough has already been worked. It has that flour on the top of it, so it's still wet. You can still smell that it's clearly uncooked, so that doughy, hence that doughy, the raw dough, I guess is what I should say. But you can definitely feel the spice of the licorice. You can definitely feel that almond, and you definitely feel the vanilla in this fragrance too. So I'm gonna say this is a doughy, a sweet, doughy fragrance with a little bit of licorice spice and sweet vanilla. So that's Hypnotic Poison by Dior. The next one, I have mixed feelings about this fragrance. I love the opening. This is Santal Majescule by Serge. The opening of this fragrance, if it just stayed that way, this would be a lifer for me. There is sandalwood, creamy, smooth, sweet sandalwood. There's cacao, so that dustiness of the chocolate, still a chocolate feel, but powdery. What disappoints me is the rose in this fragrance. This rose is very dry, hence it becomes potpourri on my skin. It's very dry, and the best way I can say is a potpourri rose. When I spray this, that cacao and the sandalwood, like I said, it's a winner. It's a stunner. If it stayed like that, this fragrance would be perfect to me. It's just the development of that rose, and it's not like it's in the background. That rose on my skin comes out and it starts to be very prominent. So I love the opening of this fragrance. I don't like how it dries, and it stays prominent for a while. So I feel like it's with you for the life of the fragrance. So this fragrance, I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to work with it. I don't know if I can work with that rose. But on the other side of things, a woody fragrance that I love and I would choose actually over this one is Gris Charnel. Now this was a tester bottle. I haven't used the whole thing, but this opening is okay to me. It doesn't put me off, but it's not something that I'm in love with. There's fig, the wood in here, the sandalwood in here, which is what it is, feels very fresh in the beginning. I know that there's black tea in here with the fig. Fig to me reminds me of coconut. I don't really get along with coconut that well, but I don't necessarily get a coconut feel in this fragrance. Maybe a little bit of creaminess in the beginning, but this fragrance, it is the dry down that I love, and the dry down is what we live with. Okay, so I feel like I would rather deal with the dry down with an okay opening than a beautiful opening and a dry down that I really I don't like. So this is tonka and sandalwood in the dry down. So it's sweet and powdery because of the tonka, which also gives it a vanillic essence as well. But the sandalwood becomes nice and smooth and soft, and this fragrance is powdery and fluffy. So that is Gris Charnel. I would definitely choose this over the Santal Majescule. The next fragrance is Bois Dore by Van Cleef & Arpels. This fragrance is unique. It is unique. This is not something that you're going to smell every day. And what makes this fragrance unique is the top. And there's mineral notes in here, and they last throughout the life of the fragrance. When you first spray this, you get a little bit of pepper, definitely those cool mineral notes. As this fragrance warms up, no, it doesn't warm up in the beginning, but you definitely get a hint of tobacco. So there's sweet, musky tobacco in this fragrance, and all that is in the beginning. As it starts to warm up on your skin, then there's vanilla and there's almond that become more prominent in this fragrance. They definitely warm it up, and that's the almond is powdery, and the vanilla is a powdery vanilla as well. That's what makes this fragrance attractive to me, is everything mixed together. If it stayed cool with those mineral notes, I would not probably have this, but it's the addition of the almond and the vanilla, definitely the tobacco, that I appreciate. But again, the mineral notes are what make this fragrance unique. So that's Bois Dore by Van Cleef and Arpels. This fragrance, I'll mention, is a softer projector. This one stays closer to your skin, so if you want it to project outward more, you're gonna have to spray more. The next fragrance is a love-hate for me, and it's not because the fragrance, it's because of me. I spray this fragrance and I get some soft white florals and a little bit of musk. This is Jasmine Noir by Bvlgari. I think there are some synthetic notes in here that I can't smell, and it's frustrating because, yeah, just a very light white floral. I used to be able to get the full effect of this fragrance. There is licorice in here, sandalwood in here, jasmine, and vanilla. This fragrance is really, really beautiful. I can smell it comes back around. So if I spray it on my skin, I can't, or on my clothes, I feel like I can spray it, I can smell it better on my clothes. So it'll disappear for a while and then it comes back around strongly. That base is something I think everybody should at least give this fragrance a try, because it's sandalwood heavy, but you can also feel the jasmine in here. You can feel the licorice and you can feel the almond, the vanilla too. Vanilla in a small quantity. I think there's more almond and licorice in this fragrance, but it's so smooth. That sandalwood is woody but creamy, still powdery. This fragrance is very, very sensual. This might be maybe the most sensual fragrance of the bunch, if not Hypnotic Poison. It's just the woodiness, the creaminess, the powderiness, everything. It's like you ground everything up, dry jasmine petals, licorice, dried licorice, you know, the almonds and sandalwood, and it's just a powder, and you can just feel it's like a very fine powder that you can feel all around you. It's deep. Like, I can't say it's sensual enough. I'm gonna keep this one around because I love the dry down so much, and hope that my nose gets right so that I can smell the whole development of the fragrance. So I mentioned all of that to say, if any of you have trouble detecting woody synthetic notes, which I think is what's keeping me from smelling the development of this fragrance, definitely try this before you buy it. But everybody, I believe, should, if you like these types of fragrances, should get their nose on this fragrance. This is also an oldie but goodie. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the vibe. I kind of squeamish about showing my home, but it was appropriate for this video. Again, thank everybody who watches my videos. Subscribe if you keep on coming back. And I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.